It was a calm, clear night on Earth when the sky above suddenly lit up with unfamiliar lights. Far beyond the clouds, something massive loomed, an object so big it could be seen from space. People around the world looked up, confused and scared. Within hours, it became clear that this was no natural phenomenon. An alien ship, larger than anything ever imagined, had arrived at Earth's doorstep. At the United Nations headquarters in New York, the world's top leaders gathered in a panic. The ship hovered just outside Earth's atmosphere, not attacking, but not making contact either. The President of the United States, along with the heads of China, Russia, and the European Union, sat in the conference room. The air was thick with tension. No one knew what to expect. Suddenly, a voice echoed through every device on Earth: televisions, radios, phones, and computers. The message was the same, delivered in a robotic tone that sent chills down everyone's spine. People of Earth, we are the Galactic Empire. You are now under our observation. Your species has reached a point where we must decide your future. You will be given two choices: join us as a subordinate species in our grand empire, or face the consequences of refusal. We will wait for your response. The room fell silent. The leaders exchanged uneasy glances. The Galactic Empire was not something anyone had ever expected. Earth had made great technological strides, but it was still nowhere near ready to face a force capable of intergalactic travel. They had no idea how advanced the Empire was, but one thing was clear: Earth was in danger. "Do we even have a choice?" muttered the French president, his voice low and filled with dread. The President of the United States, a strong-willed man in his 50s, leaned forward. "We always have a choice. We don't know what they want, or how far they're willing to go, but we need to buy time. We can't surrender our planet without understanding the full situation." The Chinese premier nodded, her face calm but her eyes betraying a hint of fear. "We need to learn more. This could be a test. If we appear too weak, they might crush us without a second thought." The UN Secretary General, an older wise diplomat, cleared his throat. "We will send a message to them, but it must be carefully worded. We need to show strength, but not provoke them into immediate action." As the leaders debated their response, miles above the planet, the alien ship remained eerily still. Its metallic surface reflected the sun's light, making it shine like a second moon. Inside the ship, the Empire's emissary, a tall, thin alien with pale skin and piercing blue eyes, observed Earth with mild curiosity. To him, Earth was just another primitive planet. He had seen hundreds of worlds like it. They always either joined the Empire willingly or were destroyed. His job was simple: deliver the ultimatum, and if the humans resisted, unleash the Empire's might upon them. However, he found something slightly different about this planet. Humans were known to be unpredictable and stubborn, even in the face of certain doom. A signal came from Earth, a response from the humans. The emissary smiled, showing his sharp, silver teeth. "Let's see what these creatures have to say," he whispered to himself. Back on Earth, the response was being broadcast live across every major news channel. The world held its breath as the Secretary General delivered the message. "To the representatives of the Galactic Empire, we have heard your proposal and we thank you for your offer of contact. Humanity is a peaceful species, and we wish to avoid any conflict. However, we need time to fully understand the nature of your empire and what joining it would mean for us. We request a period of negotiation so that we can make an informed decision for our planet." The message was diplomatic, but it sent waves of uncertainty across the globe. People everywhere were glued to their screens, waiting for the Empire's response. Would they allow time for negotiation, or would they strike immediately? Moments later, the alien ship responded. The voice of the emissary echoed once again, this time with a slight edge of irritation. "Your request for time is noted. You will have 1 Earth week to provide your final answer. Remember, resistance is futile. We will be watching." With that, the transmission ended. The alien ship remained in orbit, its presence casting a long, dark shadow over the Earth. The countdown had begun. In the days that followed, Earth's governments scrambled to prepare for the worst. Military forces were put on high alert. Scientists worked around the clock to analyze the alien ship, hoping to find any weaknesses, but Earth's leaders knew they were outmatched. The Galactic Empire was far beyond their understanding. The only question now was whether humanity would submit to the Empire's demands or find a way to resist. As the week dragged on, the pressure grew. People across the planet protested, demanding answers, while others prepared for an invasion. Fear spread like wildfire, but beneath it, a deep sense of defiance began to stir. Humanity had never been the type to bow down easily, and even in the face of an unbeatable force, there were those who believed that Earth could find a way to stand tall. In the heart of the United Nations building, the leaders of Earth prepared for their final decision. The fate of the planet rested in their hands. The one-week deadline from the Galactic Empire weighed heavily on the world. In every city, people talked about nothing else. Fear hung in the air, but so did something else: defiance. Humans have faced impossible odds before and come out stronger. This time, they would not simply roll over and surrender. In the United Nations headquarters, the leaders of Earth were meeting once again. The President of the United States, the Russian Prime Minister, the Chinese Premier, and other top officials from around the world sat around a large table. On the wall behind them, a giant screen displayed the alien ship, still hovering ominously above the planet. "We cannot give in to them," the President said, his voice firm. "If we agree to become part of their empire, we lose our freedom, our identity. We will be nothing more than slaves." The Russian Prime Minister nodded in agreement. "They see us as weak. They think we will kneel just because they are more advanced. But humans are not weak. We fight when it matters." The Chinese Premier added, "We need to show them that we are not afraid. If we can't match them in technology, we will beat them with strategy." The leaders knew the challenge ahead was massive. The Galactic Empire had technology that humans could barely understand. Their ships, weapons, and resources were beyond anything Earth could produce. But humanity had something the Empire underestimated: its will to survive. At a secret location, Earth's top scientists and military minds gathered. They had been preparing for this day for years, ever since the first signs of alien life had been detected. The scientists had developed new weapons, spacecraft, and defense systems, most of it still untested, but now they had no choice. "We've been studying the Empire's ships," said Dr. Patel, one of Earth's leading engineers. "Their technology is advanced, but we found some weaknesses. Our new plasma-based weapons might be able to penetrate their shields." General Harris, head of Earth's Combined Military Forces, spoke next. "We've trained our best pilots for space combat. If it comes to a fight, we won't go down without taking some of them with us." But it wasn't just about technology and military strength. Humanity's greatest weapon was its unpredictability. The Empire had never faced a species like humans: resourceful, stubborn, and willing to take risks. "We'll send them a message," the President said, standing tall. "We won't surrender, and we won't negotiate from a place of fear. If they want war, we'll give them a fight they'll never forget." The world's leaders agreed. Humanity would stand firm. There would be no surrender, no submission. The Galactic Empire had issued its ultimatum, but Earth would respond with its own. A transmission was sent back to the alien ship. "People of the Galactic Empire, Earth will not join you. We choose freedom over fear. If you seek war, know that we will fight with everything we have. Humanity will not bow." The message was clear. Humanity would not be intimidated. The countdown to battle had begun. The Galactic Empire did not wait long. Less than a day after receiving Earth's defiant message, their first strike came. In the cold, silent darkness of space, a small fleet of alien warships approached the planet. There were only 5 of them, sleek and shining, but their very presence sent shockwaves of fear through humanity. These ships were nothing like Earth had ever seen: vast, angular machines built for destruction. Inside one of the warships, the alien commander, cold and calculating, observed the planet below. "Primitive," he muttered, his pale fingers tapping the console. "Let's show them what real power looks like." On Earth, alarms blared in military bases across the globe. The moment everyone had feared was here. Earth's newly built defense forces, still untested, scrambled to respond. In a secret underground bunker, General Harris stood before a massive screen, watching the alien ships move closer to Earth. "They're coming straight for us," Harris said to his officers. His voice was calm but tense. "They think this will be easy." The room buzzed with activity as soldiers and technicians prepared for what seemed like an impossible fight. The best pilots Earth had trained were getting ready to launch in their experimental space fighters. These new ships, faster and more agile than anything humanity had built before, were powered by advanced plasma technology that had only been tested in simulations. Up in orbit, Captain Sarah Mitchell, one of Earth's top pilots, sat in the cockpit of her fighter. Her heart pounded in her chest, but her hands were steady on the controls. She had been waiting for this moment, knowing that Earth's future might depend on what happened next. "Remember the plan," General Harris's voice crackled through the comms. "We can't match their firepower, so we have to outsmart them. Hit fast, hit hard, and don't let them pin you down." As the alien ships entered Earth's atmosphere, Earth's defense systems roared to life. Massive laser cannons, hidden deep in the mountains and deserts, fired up at the alien invaders. Beams of bright light streaked through the sky, some hitting the targets, others missing. But the alien ships barely flinched, their shields absorbing most of the damage. Then it was humanity's turn to strike. Dozens of Earth's fighters launched from their hidden bases, streaking into the sky like arrows. Captain Mitchell led the charge, her ship cutting through the atmosphere at breakneck speed. The alien ships moved with precision, their movements cold and calculated, but the human pilots had something they didn't: unpredictability. Mitchell's squadron dove in, flying erratically, using every trick they knew to confuse the enemy. The alien ships fired back, their lasers sharp and deadly, but Earth's fighters were too fast, too agile. Mitchell's plasma cannons hummed to life, and she fired directly at one of the alien ships. To her surprise, the blast hit, and for the first time, the shield flickered. "They're not invincible," Mitchell shouted over the comms. "We can hit them." The battle raged on, but the aliens hadn't expected such fierce resistance. They were used to crushing weaker species with ease, but humanity wasn't going down without a fight. As the first alien ship exploded in a brilliant flash of light, the aliens realized Earth would be a tougher opponent than they had thought. The destruction of the first alien ship sent ripples through the galactic empire. For the first time in centuries, they had faced resistance, and from a species they considered primitive. On the surface of Earth, cheers erupted as the news of the victory spread. A single alien ship had fallen, and humanity had stood its ground. But in the cold void of space, the rest of the empire was not celebrating. Far from it. Thousands of light years away, on the capital planet of the galactic empire, a vast and glittering city stretched across the entire surface of a planet twice the size of Earth. In the heart of this metropolis stood the Imperial Palace, a structure so tall it pierced the clouds. Inside, the Emperor of the Galactic Empire, an ancient being known as Emperor Korath ***, sat upon his throne, his face twisted in a mixture of disbelief and fury. Before him, holographic screens displayed the wreckage of the destroyed ship orbiting Earth. The alien commander who had led the first strike was kneeling, trembling before the Emperor's image, his pale skin covered in cold sweat. "Explain yourself," the Emperor growled, his deep voice sending shivers through the room. His eyes, glowing with a pale blue light, were fixed on the commander. The commander's voice shook. "My Emperor, the humans, they are more dangerous than we anticipated. Their technology is crude, yes, but they have developed weapons that can penetrate our shields. And their tactics, they fight unpredictably." Unpredictable. The Emperor's voice dripped with disdain. "They are primitive insects, nothing more. You were supposed to crush them, not return to me with excuses." The commander's head bowed lower. I underestimated them. But I swear, the humans will fall. We will send more ships. We will overwhelm them." Emperor Korath's eyes narrowed. "No, you have failed, but this is no longer your concern." He raised a hand, and with a flick of his fingers, the commander let out a choked gasp. The Emperor's telekinetic power gripped the alien's throat, and within seconds, the commander crumpled to the ground, lifeless. The Emperor turned his attention to his advisors, who stood in a semicircle around him. These humans must be dealt with, but we will not make the same mistake twice. Prepare the fleet, 10 times the size of the first. We will send an armada that will leave their planet in ruins. One of the advisors, a tall and thin alien with emerald skin, stepped forward. My Emperor, if I may suggest, perhaps we should not be so hasty. The humans may be a valuable asset to the Empire if properly handled. Their resilience is remarkable. Perhaps we could use them rather than destroy them. Korath's glowing eyes flared with anger. You dare suggest we negotiate with these creatures? The advisor quickly bowed his head. Not negotiate, my Emperor, but perhaps we can offer them a different kind of choice. Total destruction or servitude. The Emperor's fury cooled slightly as he considered the idea. Very well, we will give them one more chance to bow. But if they refuse, there will be no mercy. Back on Earth, the victory over the first alien ship had given humanity a brief moment of hope, but the celebrations were short-lived. Earth's leaders knew this was just the beginning. The Galactic Empire would not take this defeat lightly. In the United Nations Command Center, the atmosphere was tense. The President of the United States, along with other world leaders, stood around a large table, discussing their next steps. General Harris, still in his combat uniform, leaned over a map of the planet. We've won a battle, but the war hasn't even begun, he said grimly. We know the Empire is going to send more ships, and they'll be bigger, stronger, and better prepared. The President nodded, his face hard. How long do we have? Days, maybe a week at most, General Harris replied. Our analysts have detected massive movements in the Empire's territory. Their armada is coming. The room fell silent for a moment, the weight of the situation sinking in. Humanity had survived the first strike, but the next one could very well be the last. We need to prepare for a full-scale invasion, the President said, and we need to reach out to any potential allies. There must be other civilizations in the galaxy who have faced the Empire and survived. If we can find them, maybe we stand a chance. Dr. Patel, the lead scientist on Earth's defense project, stepped forward. We've been working on a new defense system, something that could give us a real edge. It's based on the alien technology we've recovered from their wreckage. What is it? The President asked, his interest piqued. We call it the *** particle shield ***. It's a defensive barrier that can absorb and redirect energy-based weapons. It's still experimental, but it could be our best shot at surviving their next attack. The President considered this for a moment. How soon can it be ready? Dr. Patel hesitated. We need more time, at least another few weeks to make sure it's fully functional. We don't have a few weeks, General Harris said. We'll have to deploy it as is. It's a risk, but it's the only one we've got. The President nodded. Do it. Get everything ready. We're going to need every advantage we can get. Far above Earth, in the dark reaches of space, the Empire's massive armada was already on the move. Hundreds of ships, each larger and more powerful than the last, glided through the stars, heading straight for Earth. In the lead ship, a new commander had taken charge, handpicked by Emperor Korath himself. This time, there would be no mistakes. The humans would either bow or burn. The Empire's message was clear. Resistance would not be tolerated. And so, the countdown to the second strike began. Earth's victory had bought them some time, but the storm was far from over. Humanity had defied the Empire once, but now the full weight of galactic power was bearing down on them. The question that lingered in every mind was simple. Could Earth survive the full force of the Galactic Empire? Or would this be the end of humanity's defiance? The sky above Earth had never looked so menacing. Massive alien ships, dark and silent, hovered just beyond the atmosphere. The Galactic Empire's fleet had arrived in full force. Hundreds of warships formed a blockade around the planet, their sleek metallic surfaces gleaming in the sunlight. This time, they weren't here to negotiate. They were here to make an example of humanity. On the ground, tension gripped every corner of the world. From bustling cities to remote villages, the fear was the same. People watched the news in horror, seeing images of the alien fleet looming over their home. Military forces were mobilized, and Earth's defenses were on full alert. But deep down, everyone knew the truth. No amount of preparation could match the power of the Galactic Empire. In the United Nations Command Center, the atmosphere was tense but focused. The world's leaders, military commanders, and top scientists were all gathered in a large room, staring at the holographic display of the alien fleet. General Harris stood at the center, his face grim as he addressed the room. "They've surrounded the entire planet," Harris said, pointing to the map. "Their ships are positioned strategically to prevent any escape or reinforcement. This is a full-scale siege." The President of the United States folded his arms, his face etched with worry. "How long before they attack?" "Hard to say," General Harris replied. "But they're preparing something big. Their forces are in position, and we've detected strange energy signatures coming from their lead ship. They're getting ready to strike." Dr. Patel, the lead scientist, stepped forward. "The *** particle shield *** we've been working on is almost ready. It's the best defense we have, but there's no guarantee it'll hold against an assault of this magnitude." "How much time do you need?" the President asked, his eyes locking with Patel's. "Another 24 hours to bring it online fully," Patel said. "But even then, we're talking about something untested in real combat. It's a gamble." The President sighed, running a hand through his hair. "We don't have a choice. Get it ready." As the final preparations were made, the world braced itself for what was coming. In every major city, bunkers were filled with civilians, military personnel manned defense stations, and scientists worked around the clock to get the particle shield operational. But even with all this activity, there was a heavy sense of dread hanging over Earth. In space, aboard the lead ship of the Empire's fleet, the new commander of the invasion force, *** Admiral Vekar, ***, watched Earth through the observation deck. Vekar was a cold, calculating being chosen by Emperor Korath for his ruthless efficiency. He had no interest in humanity's potential or their bravery. To him, they were nothing more than an obstacle in the Empire's path, one that needed to be crushed. "Is everything in place?" Vekar asked, his voice icy. A subordinate, a smaller alien with thin limbs and large black eyes, nodded. "Yes, Admiral. All ships are in position. The energy weapon is fully charged and ready to fire on your command." Vekar's lips curled into a cruel smile. "Good. It's time these humans learned their place. Begin the attack." The order was given. The Empire's fleet, like a well-oiled machine, sprang into action. From the lead ship, a massive beam of energy began to gather, crackling with power. It was a weapon unlike anything Earth had ever seen, a planet killer, capable of reducing entire continents to ash. On Earth, alarms blared in every major city. The alien fleet had made its move. At the United Nations Command Center, General Harris's eyes widened as the data came flooding in. "They're charging some kind of energy weapon," he shouted. "It's powerful, more powerful than anything we've ever encountered." The President's face went pale. "Can we stop it?" Dr. Patel, standing at a nearby console, frantically worked the controls. "The particle shield is not fully operational yet, but we don't have a choice. If we don't activate it now, we're done for." "Do it," the President ordered. "Activate the shield." Patel's fingers flew over the keyboard, and a moment later, a bright blue light shot up from multiple points across the planet's surface. The *** particle shield ***, Earth's last line of defense, flickered to life. A shimmering dome of energy began to form around the planet, its glow visible even from space. The alien energy weapon fired. A blinding beam of destruction shot down from the lead ship, aimed directly at one of Earth's major cities. As the beam collided with the shield, the entire planet seemed to tremble. The energy crackled and surged against the barrier, trying to break through. For a moment, it seemed like the shield would fail. But it held. Cheers erupted in the command center as the beam fizzled out, unable to penetrate the shield. Earth had survived the first strike, but the battle was far from over. Up in space, Admiral Vikar watched with a scowl as the shield repelled the Empire's attack. He had not expected this. Interesting, he muttered, his eyes narrowing. The humans have some fight in them after all. The subordinate looked nervously at Vekar. Shall we fire again, Admiral? No, Vekar said, his voice cold and calculating. This shield won't hold forever. It's draining their energy resources just to maintain it. We will wait. Let them waste their strength keeping the shield up. When the time is right, we'll strike again, and this time they won't be so lucky. On Earth, the leaders were breathing a collective sigh of relief. The shield had worked, for now, but they knew this was just the beginning. The Galactic Empire was far from defeated, and the siege had only just begun. We bought ourselves some time, General Harris said, his voice low but steady. But that shield won't hold indefinitely. The Empire is going to wait us out, drain our resources. Dr. Patel nodded. We're pushing the shield to its limits already. If they keep attacking, it's only a matter of time before we run out of power. The president clenched his fists, staring at the holographic display of the alien fleet. We need a plan, something more than just defense. We can't hold out forever. We need to find a way to break this siege. Outside, across the cities of Earth, people stood united in fear and hope. The alien threat was greater than anything humanity had ever faced, but their spirit remained unbroken. The siege had begun, and Earth was under relentless pressure. But as the world looked to the stars, there was one question on everyone's mind. Could humanity find a way to not just survive, but win? The fate of the planet hung in the balance, and the clock was ticking. The tension in the United Nations Command Center was palpable. Earth's leaders, military officials, and scientists gathered around the central table, their faces drawn and serious. The *** particle shield ** was still operational, but the energy levels were rapidly depleting. Each pulse of the shield echoed a warning. Time was running out. General Harris stood at the head of the table, his voice steady despite the weight of the situation. We've held off the Empire's initial attacks, but they will not wait much longer. Their next strike will be stronger, and if we don't come up with a plan, we'll lose everything. The president leaned forward, his brow furrowed. How long can the shield hold? Dr. Patel checked his data. At this rate, we have less than 12 hours before the shield fails completely. Once it drops, the Empire will bombard us with everything they have. We need a strategy, and we need it now. The room fell silent, each person contemplating the gravity of the moment. The fate of humanity hung in the balance. Then, a young officer named Lieutenant Maya Chen spoke up. What if we could lure the Empire into a trap? If we could take out their flagship, we might cause enough confusion to disrupt their forces. Harris raised an eyebrow. That's risky. Their flagship is heavily guarded. We need a small, fast team to get close without being detected. Exactly, Maya said, her voice growing stronger. We can use the remaining energy from the shield to power our stealth ships. We have to hit them hard and fast. If we can disable their flagship, the rest of the fleet might fall into chaos. The president considered her suggestion. It's a long shot, but it might be our best chance. We'll need to act quickly. General, assemble a team of the best pilots and technicians. Harris nodded, already formulating a plan in his mind. Maya, you'll lead the mission. You know the stealth ships better than anyone. Meanwhile, far above Earth, Admiral Vikar watched the human defenses with growing impatience. The ** particle shield * was still holding, but he could see the energy levels dropping. He could feel victory within his grasp, but these humans were proving to be more troublesome than he had anticipated. Admiral, one of his officers reported, the humans are still fortifying their defenses. They appear to be preparing for something, but we cannot determine what. Vekar's eyes narrowed. Let them waste their resources. We will continue our bombardment until they are nothing but ash. Once the shield falls, we will crush their spirit. Back on Earth, the stealth team was preparing for their daring mission. The atmosphere was charged with energy and anxiety. Maya Chen stood in front of her team, a mix of veterans and eager young pilots ready to prove themselves. "Listen up," she called out, her voice firm. "Our mission is simple. We're going to infiltrate the Empire's fleet and take out their flagship. This is our chance to turn the tide. We have one shot, and we have to make it count. Trust your training and each other." The team nodded, their expressions a mix of determination and fear. They understood the risks, but they also knew the stakes. This was for their home, their families, and their future. Maya led them to the hangar, where sleek stealth ships waited. They were designed for speed and agility, equipped with advanced cloaking technology. As they climbed aboard, Maya felt a surge of adrenaline. "Engage cloaking systems on my mark," she instructed as they buckled in. "Once we're in position, we'll break through their lines. We'll need to act fast before they realize what's happening." With a deep breath, she gave the order, and the ships roared to life, slipping into the void of space. The crew felt a mix of excitement and fear as they entered the unknown. As they approached the Empire's fleet, the sight was overwhelming. Hundreds of ships moved in perfect formation, each one a testament to the Empire's power. In the center, the flagship loomed like a dark shadow, radiating an aura of menace. Cloaking engaged, Maya said, her voice steady. "We're invisible to their sensors for now. Stay sharp." The stealth ships weaved through the massive fleet, narrowly avoiding detection. Maya's heart raced as they drew closer to the flagship. "Get ready to drop the cloak," she commanded, her fingers hovering over the controls. "On your mark," replied one of her crew members, his eyes wide with anticipation. "Now," Maya shouted. The cloak dropped, and for a split second, the flagship's defenses flickered as they registered the incoming threat. The crew aboard the flagship scrambled, their alarm systems blaring as they tried to target the approaching ships. "Fire!" Maya commanded, her heart pounding in her chest. The stealth ships unleashed a barrage of plasma fire, striking the flagship's weak points. Explosions erupted across the surface, shaking the very foundation of the ship. But the flagship's defenses were still formidable. Heavy return fire erupted, and Maya's team dodged and weaved through the chaos. "Keep firing. Aim for the central core," she shouted, focusing her sights on the glowing heart of the ship. Back on Earth, General Harris watched the battle unfold on the screens. "They're in. They're attacking the flagship," he exclaimed, his heart racing. "Can they succeed?" the president asked, his eyes fixed on the screen. "Either they disable it, or we lose everything," Harris replied. "We need to hold on as long as we can." Inside the flagship, Admiral Vakar's fury grew as he realized the humans were attacking from within. "Alert all ships. Target those stealth crafts," he bellowed, his voice filled with rage. "They will not take our flagship." But Maya and her team were relentless. They navigated through the explosions and debris, focusing their fire on the central core. With each shot, they felt the adrenaline surge. "Almost there," Maya shouted as they fired one last burst of energy. The core exploded in a brilliant flash of light, the shockwave rippling through the flagship. For a moment, time seemed to stand still. Back on Earth, cheers erupted in the command center as the flagship's explosion lit up the screen. "It's working. They did it," the president shouted, his face bright with hope. General Harris grinned. That might just change everything. In space, the destruction of the flagship sent shockwaves through the Empire's fleet. Confusion erupted as the ships scrambled to regroup. Vakar, furious and desperate, watched as the humans took advantage of the chaos. "Reinforce our lines. We cannot let them gain the upper hand," he ordered, but the fear had already spread among his crew. As Maya's team retreated, they felt a mixture of relief and exhilaration. They had struck a significant blow against the Empire, but they knew the battle was far from over. "Let's get back to Earth," Maya shouted as they activated their cloaking systems once more, weaving through the chaotic battlefield. Vikar's face twisted into a sneer. How dare they? He spat. They think they can threaten us. Admiral, we must respond immediately, one of his officers urged. We cannot show any signs of weakness. Prepare the fleet for an offensive, Vikar commanded, his voice cold. We will not only ignore their demands, we will punish them for their insolence. Back on Earth, the tension in the command center was thick. They awaited the Empire's response with bated breath. General Harris stood beside the president, his eyes focused on the holographic display. They're gathering their forces, he said, watching the alien ships move in tight formation. It looks like they're preparing for an attack. The president clenched his fists, feeling the weight of the moment. We need to hold our ground. The particle shield is still up, but we need to prepare for the worst. Are the defenses ready? Almost, Dr. Peddle confirmed, glancing at his monitors. But we must keep the shield powered. We can't allow it to drop. Then we prepare to fight, Harris declared, determination shining in his eyes. We will show the Empire what humanity is capable of. We will not back down. As the galactic fleet moved into position, Vikar could sense the tension building. The humans had been bold, but their bravado would lead to their downfall. He ordered his ships to prepare their weapons, ready to unleash destruction. We will teach them a lesson they will never forget, Vikar declared, his voice filled with malice. They think they can challenge the might of the galactic empire. They will soon learn the truth. Back on Earth, the moment of confrontation was at hand. The command center buzzed with energy as everyone prepared for the impending battle. Status report, Harris shouted, his heart racing. Particle shield at 70% power. Dr. Paddle replied urgently. We need to keep it up if we want to survive their assault. Defensive positions, the president commanded. Every city, every installation, prepare for battle. As the order was relayed, the world braced itself. People looked to the skies, seeing the alien ships moving into position. The weight of their fate hung heavy in the air. Finally, the moment came. The galactic fleet opened fire, unleashing a barrage of energy blasts toward Earth. The sky lit up as the blasts met the particle shield, creating blinding flashes of light. The shield held strong, but the strain was evident. Redirect power to the shield, Harris ordered, his voice rising above the chaos. We need to reinforce it. Dr. Paddle worked quickly at his console. I'm reallocating energy now. We need to hold as long as we can. Outside, the world watched in awe and horror as the battle unfolded. The bright flashes of energy filled the sky, illuminating the darkness of space. In space, Admiral Vikar watched with fury as the humans' shield held against their assault. Increase firepower. We will not stop until that shield crumbles. As the fleet concentrated their fire, the energy blasts rained down on Earth. Each impact sent shockwaves through the atmosphere. The particle shield flickered but remained intact, a symbol of humanity's defiance. Back in the command center, the tension mounted. The room was filled with the sounds of alarms and shouting. General Harris stared at the screens, his heart pounding. We're holding, but we can't take this much longer, he shouted. Dr. Patel's face was grim. The energy levels are dropping fast. We need to end this. Then let's fight back, the president declared, his voice filled with resolve. Prepare our counteroffensive. As the command center moved into action, humanity prepared for the fight of their lives. Earth had set its ultimatum, and now they would show the Empire the strength of their resolve. With the fate of the planet hanging in the balance, they would stand together, united in their defiance. The final confrontation was at hand, and they were ready to face the storm.